We continue our open field guide series, and we're going to do it by ranking and putting in a tier list the marches of Rise of Kingdoms. This will clear a lot of things up. We have already done our 5, 6, and 7 March lineups, our guides for you to talk about all the different combinations you can run, but this will be the video where we define what's the best and then what's the absolute best to run as 5, 6, and 7. So stick around as we get into it right here. Hey everybody, I'm your boy War Daddy Chatsky. I put out videos all the time, and if you enjoy those videos, please throw a thumbs up on here. Like the videos, consider subscribing. It doesn't cost you anything, and we are growing the channel and the community like crazy. And speaking of that community, join my Discord. The link is in the description. It's where a lot of these conversations come into play. It's where a lot of things happen when it comes to some of this stuff, and we're gonna go through the best murder ball setup we can as far as all the marches, but more importantly, we're going to go through a March tier list. We're going to tell you what the best marches are, just straight up. We're going to talk about them. We're going to talk about why and how important they are. It kind of helps you understand, you know, what the value of the investment is. Okay, should I invest in this commander or that commander? And you want to invest in commanders that not only are a part of the meta, but are going to stay a part of the meta over the next couple of years. That's the idea. I've been through this 100 times when it comes to helping players go through investing in commanders that are going to work. And so with that, all that being said, let's get into this, because now we have these commanders, and with the new commanders and the new release of Chen, so we're going to have a couple of months here before we really get into some more commanders that might shake up the meta. But right now, Chen is the boss. He is the absolute boss. He's the most broken commander we've had in the game since we had Attila in the game 5 years ago. When Attila first came into the game, he was absolutely broken because all the other commanders in the game were nowhere near his power. And what was crazy is this 4th skill, considered one of the best skills in the game, it never had a cooldown. So they literally had to nerf Attila and he was still amazing. But Chen is the guy. He is amazing. He can carry anybody you put him with. And when you see kind of the tier list, you'll understand what I mean by that, because you can literally put him with any archer commander. He's going to be amazing. That's how powerful this guy is. He's got a rage consumption mechanism that's different than any other commander. He fires off his active skills so fast. He does so much damage. It's all skill damage. It's every second. It's crazy. If you run him, you can run him with like budget gear, and you can run him like 5-1, 5-1, and he'll be your best march. That's how crazy this guy is. But you also have mainstays like Huo. You have BQ, who I think is the second most powerful commander in the game. Luce is another commander, obviously, that has withstood the test of time. Still a massively powerful commander in the game. And so with that, let's go into this, and I'm going to show you how I have this thing set up when it comes to the best lineups you can have. Okay, so we're going to put this up here. This is the best March tier list. This is what I've got, and I'm going to go through it. Everybody don't panic. We're going to kind of talk about it together. First and foremost, the Chen YSG and Chen Zuge situation. Okay, YSG I think is better. I have seen the reports. I have run it many different ways. I ran it, 5-5-5-1 on my second account, and I ran him expertise obviously on my main, and he just does better for whatever reason. And the reason why, YSG just does more damage, tons more damage, more attack bonuses. He does a ton of different things when it comes to skill damage bonuses that really unlocks Chen, and Chen YSG has just performed better. But still by far of any other tier here, Chen YSG and Chen Zuge are by far the best. Now you're splitting hairs here. Chen Zuge is still amazing. It's still going to be your best trading march. And Zuge provides a little bit of utility when it comes to the 5 march AoE that he does. And he mitigates the damage those 5 marches do. So there's a little more utility when it comes to Chen Zuge, okay? And then followed behind, okay? And there's a pretty good distance here. But followed behind in our S class is BQ with Luce. Amazing. Amazing. I dubbed it the most powerful march a few months ago before Chen came out. It's just incredible. Absolutely incredible. Trade's amazing. It is such a high performing march. Massive smite. If you have pincer armaments, to put on BQ Luce, it will be off the charts. It will literally be your second best trading March if it's got decent gear. And by the way, this list is all things considered. It's basically all things equal. You have amazing gear, amazing armaments, amazing everything. This is what the tier list looks like. Now, Huo and Arthur, super powerful, rapid fire, tons of damage. AoE from Arthur, super fast rage cycles from Huo. All the things you want in a Cav March. It could go close to this, but I'm going to have it right here. It's definitely better than all these. Definitely better than all these. So this could go here or it could go here. You can do it either way. But Huo Arthur, absolutely amazing. The next, and mainly because I'm just a Cav simp, Arthur with Philip, incredible. Absolutely incredible, does amazing things, and you can even put, you know, any kind of situation with Arthur. Philip is wonderful. Arthur's going to fire off Philip's instant proc so much more. And by the way, all these Philip combinations I have down here, you can run them either way, except for the Arthur Philip. Arthur has to be primary because you want Delta. You want the Delta formation. You want him being able to enhance Philip's instant proc, and that's how that's going to work. Let me just kind of go through here and just give a quick refresher on how that stuff works, okay? When it comes to Arthur, all right, Arthur is going to be doing a lot of combo damage, all right? When he does combo damage, he does it on multiple skills, and when he does those, he gives more ability and more chances for these instant procs to fire off. That's why Arthur with William works good. That's why Philip works amazing with him. This is what I think is the best instant proc in the game. So that's like a match made in heaven. Even though Philip's not a combo damage commander, he's more of a damage buffing commander, but he does this instant proc. So people have to understand exactly how that works, and that's what we kind of wanted to show you. So when you look at this overall, you've got Arthur Philip here. Now I have Attila Philip way up here. And this is considering if you have all the arch stuff, arch formation stuff for cavalry, Attila Philip is wrecking things. He's incredible. It's a great march. But if you don't, because most players are either doing pincer, maybe some delta, and then definitely wedge, and they can't mess with arch. They just can't mess with it. So that would probably be more down the line down here for a lot of players. So we'll just put back here for a lot of players, but I run it and I've got great arch stuff on my Attila and it's incredible. Okay, Zuge Philip, the second best archer march in my opinion. Zuge Philip outperforms Zuge Herman. You guys see the commonality here in this A tier. Philip is everywhere. It doesn't matter if it's infantry, cavalry, or archers. Philip is absolutely everywhere. I love the Zuge Philip march. And then when you come down here, you're getting BQ with Wallace, and there are certain situations you might want to run that. We'll go through those. You have Zuge with Herman. You have Ragnar with CPO. Now this could kind of go here or here. Ragnar CPO still super powerful. He's always going to be a part of the 5, 6, 7 march lineup. It's really, really good. And you could even put Ragnar CPO up above the BQ Wallace. Just BQ's going to carry. He's just so powerful. He's going to carry. And so BQ with Philip, not ideal. They're both super powerful, so it works, but there's not a whole lot of synergies between the two at all. And the only synergies you would have is if you ran Philip primary, you could get his active skill to fire off, so you're doing more damage with BQ's big 5-target smite damage. But other than that, there's nothing like a Luce and a Philip. Okay, Luce Philip is totally different. We'll talk about that next. Okay, and then I mentioned the Attila Philip over here. Now down in the B category, guys, these are all meta marches. The S plus S, A, B, and C, they're all meta marches you could run at the end of the game, okay? These are in-game marches, and they're relevant marches now. So you're going to start to see other commanders now show up in the B section, all right? This kind of is a hint to you players. If you see commanders that don't show up till down here, these are commanders you don't necessarily want to invest in, all right? I've got Huo Joan here. Huo Joan is a great, if you're running 2 calves, Huo Joan and then Arthur Philip are like the 2 best cav marches that you can run. So Huo Joan is here. You've also got Luce with Philip here. Now if you like Philip behind Luce does a combo damage. He does that combo attack. Now he's a smite commander, but he does combo attack and it fires off Philip stuff that much better and that much more often. So Luce Philip, great march, absolutely great march. I've got Arthur William here, the same type of deal. William's got a great instant proc, and this is a really good cav march. Plus William's got one of the craziest kits ever, to where he is doing like crazy defense buffing of your marches. He's giving you rage. He's doing all kinds of different things, even to this day. And what people have to understand with Philip, he is gaining more and more situations to where he is helping the current meta. And the reason why he's helping to nerf Chen a little bit. Let me explain why. Because William, back when everybody did skill damage, back in the day, when everybody did skill damage, all right, this was a great part of his active skill. Whatever targets he hits, and he's got a rectangular AoE that hits 3 targets in a murder ball, which it does just about every time. Those targets cannot benefit from buffs that increase skill damage. Okay, when we had everybody was skill damage commanders, this was amazing. Well, now that's changed because you have so many combo commanders and you have so many smite commanders now. However, you want to nerf or you want to counter for this dude with YSG, this completely nerfs YSG behind Chen. And that's why Philip, it's not overwhelmingly valuable, but it's just some extra value you get there to where Chen YSG isn't just beating you up. He's going to nullify so much of that all damage that YSG is giving in the form of skill damage bonuses. And that's why William, still to this day, he's showing up on some of these lists. So this is kind of how I have this thing set up with Arthur and William. BQ with CJ. This is a sneaky good March. Really, really good. You're going 2 March setups. You're cooking right here with these two. BQ and CJ, Wallace and Luce. Those are good ones to run together. CJ doesn't do a ton of damage, but he's got this cool little kickback damage he does. And then BQ's obviously going to carry just about anybody. Wallace and Luce, great March. Fantastic. Wallace primary as a smite commander with the smite tree is great for Luce. It's fantastic. That's still a good March. Okay, Joan Arthur, really, really good March. This is massive skill damage all the time. If you're going to run Arthur secondary to a March, you want to run him with Huo. If not, you want to run him with Joan. It's a little glass cannony. It doesn't matter though. You're putting down so much damage. It's great. Now, you guys heard me talk about this in my latest video with Joan and Philip. Joan Philip, just depending on what you're running it for, could be all the way up here. This thing is such an active skill, rapid fire Gatling gun. I mean, it's just like a machine gun of active skills nonstop every 2 seconds. We literally ran this thing, hit a barb, and we had 18 active skills every 2 seconds for 35 seconds. 18 active skills. That's how much this thing fires off with Philip's expertise and Joan's 4th skill. It's just active skill after nonstop. And so this is a very potent March. Huo Belly. This is where people need to stop sleeping on Belly. Okay? Belly is awesome with Huo. In fact, I would probably put that more right up here. Because Huo with Belly, it's a single target deal. He's a March killer, and he is absolutely great. Belly's got the best debuff in the game, 12% extra damage from all sources on the target instantly. It's perpetual. It's the only skill we have where the second you're hitting the target, it's in effect. That's why it's a phenomenal swarming March. And in the field, I've never seen it trade bad. I just haven't. Ask Cav players who run it. Everybody can bag on Belly like, oh, well, Belly just doesn't have much value, but you run this March and it just trades great. And it nukes, single target nukes anything it is hitting. And so you want to get Marches off the field, you run that thing, it's tons of damage, single target, and it's crazy. So now we're going to get into the C category. Now, this is when you're filling out, those of you running, 5, 6, and 7 Marches, and you're trying to fill this stuff out, this is where you're going to start seeing Ash. You might see a Nevsky. You might see some other options. I've got Luce Alex here. Now, Luce Alex can easily go up here. In fact, that's not even a bad place for it right here. But Luce Alex, still amazing today. In fact, I'm going to leave it here in the B category because it still deserves to be in this group with all these players. So Luce Alex still doing it. Alex instant proc from Luce is great. That's just how it's been. And that is still a really good March. You can fight it in the end game. Anybody can run that March and you don't even bat an eye. You don't even think twice about it. Okay. When you do get into the C category, that's when you start having the Wallace CJ situations going on. You've got Ragnar with Philip. I ran this on my second account all the time. It is so good and so powerful. And then you've got Huo with William. Love that combination. I think it's really, really good. And then I put Shajar behind Chen, okay? Mainly because Chen can carry anybody. I can put Chen Ramses here. I can put Chen Thutmose here. It doesn't make a rip. He's going to carry anybody. But Shajar in an altar with her healing ability you might be surprised at how long this thing can stay alive. I've also got Joan Belisarius here. And this was more and more prevalent when we did not see Joan get targeted as much. Now we do. And so it's definitely fallen as far as being able to be a viable option for you, but it's a good March and it puts the debuffs on it and it buffs a little bit from Joan. And then you get your Ashe combinations here. I think Zuge behind Ashe is better than Herman behind Ashe, but it really, really works either way. And then you finally got Nevsky. I would be remiss. You got to put Nevsky here somewhere. Nevsky with Arthur is pretty good. The one I don't have in here that I need to actually put in here is kind of the Attila Philip, or I'm sorry, the Attila Bertrand. And that's more to show everybody that any kind of combo commander behind Attila really works. That's in the C category, or even maybe at the back of the B category. Attila Bertrand works really, really well when it comes to that. So Nevsky at the back of this, and then Nevsky at the front of this. If you're running Nevsky Joan, it's long in the tooth, y'all. I mean, we're getting old here. You don't need to run that. If you're running Juan with Ragnarok, Juan with CPO, be done with that. Time to bench Guan, time to bench Nevsky. Let's get on to the new commanders. I even put Huo with Nevsky here. Not nearly as potent as like the Huo Belly, but it does some of the same stuff. It's a March killer. It's really good, and you can still run it today, but not ideal. If you got Belly, run Belly. If you got Joan, run Joan behind Huo. If you got Arthur and you just run one Cav March, run Arthur behind Huo. And then I just put Wallace and Philip here for giggles, okay? We have other marches we can put in there. I could totally put like Boudica Artie. Where do you rank her? You know, that's an old broken march. I could totally put some of these other commanders in here that are just things you do not want to consider. So if you're thinking about investing, and this is not an investment tier guide, but if you're thinking about investing, look at the commanders in this slot. Look at the commanders in this slot. Those are the ones you really want to invest in, because the ones that are down here, like your Jones, okay, Joan's getting a little bit old. I don't know if I would necessarily go invest in her. I think she's still going to be great. All right. But Joan, you're starting to see William Wallace. Nah, probably not invest in him. CJ, probably not invest in him. Alex, definitely not. Belisarius, definitely not. Okay. And then down here, you definitely don't want to start investing in these people. That's Shajar. Okay. You got William here and William here. You probably don't want to invest in William, but it gives you Ashe you don't want to invest in. You don't want to do that. Nevsky, definitely not. Juan, hell no. And that's kind of how this thing sets up. So that gives you an idea when it comes to the best March tier list, okay? So I'm going to take this down, and we're going to call this the best 5 March, okay? So everybody bear with me just for a second as I kind of go through this. We're going to come over here and we're going to go to our 5 March setup. All right, so on our 5 March setup, this is our best 5 March. If you are running 5 Marches. Now, I did the video, and there'll be a card at the top. I did the video on the 5 March guide. So I did 9 different options of combinations of troop types and all those different things. 9 different options. And since I did 9 different options, I didn't even say which one was going to be the best type of March, which March was going to be the best, or the setup was going to be the best. I didn't say any of that. This is the video where I'm telling you, if I could choose the best 5 Marches to send in the game, everything constant, you have everything available to you. These are the 5 Marches. And you're going to notice something in here, and you're going to know that I'm unbiased, okay? First and foremost, Chen YSG, rock and roll. Roll with that. BQ Luce, roll with that. You're going to see 1 Cav March in here, okay? If I had my pickings and I can go run anything I want, I would run 1 Cav March. That's where we're at. Now, once we get a combo commander, that'll break up into 2 Cav Marches in this top 5, but we need more Cav commanders to run with Arthur. We need more Cav commanders to be able to do different things with the cavalry, but this is an insanely good March. It's the 3rd best March in the game, in my opinion, and if you break them up, then you got a tough time getting better than Zuge Philip, and that's the whole point here. Now, I run 2 Cavs and 3 Cavs when I run 5, 6, and 7 Marches. The reason why is because my inscriptions and everything that I have for cavalry far out exceeds my 2nd Archer setup. So there's your 1 cavalry March. So now you guys can't say I'm biased. You can't say any of that, because I am a Cav simp. I love them. But right now, 2 Archers with Zuge Philip, not Herman. You want to put the Philip behind Zuge. Ragnar CPO, BQ Luce. 2 Archers, 2 infantry, 1 Cav. That's the best thing you can do right now. the absolute best thing you can do right now. And so once we have that for 5 marches, let's go to our 6 march setup, shall we? Okay, so our 6 march setup looks a little bit something like this. For the best 6 marches, it's a 2-2-2 setup. So let's look at this right off the hop. It's going to be Chen with YSG. That's easy. BQ Luce. That's easy. Now you split up the calves, and now basically what you're doing is pulling Joan off the bench and Herman off the bench from the 5 march lineup to run 6 marches. Now you're going to put Joan behind Huo. You're going to put Philip now, move from Zuge, put Philip behind Arthur. You run your 2 calves there. You run your Ragnar CPO, and then rounding it out is your Zuge Herman. That's the best 6 marches you can run. That is the best combination in the field of 6 marches that you can run if all things are equal. If all the gear's equal, all the inscriptions are equal, this is the best you can run with 6 marches. So we know how powerful that is. And these are the 6 marches I run when I run 6. So let's get after it. And so from there, we'll do one more. We're going to do the best 7 marches. Okay, and the best 7 marches can be debatable. Again, this all depends on what you have. It all depends on what's in your kit as far as which commanders you have, what kind of gear you have, all the different things that come with it. But this is the best 7 march lineup you can run, in my opinion. You still run Chen with YSG. Easy, easy. Then what I would suggest is running 3 infantry, okay? You run 3 infantry. You run BQ with Wallace. Love that. I love running Luce with Philip. You move Philip over to Luce. So basically the difference in this is that you're going to now bring William Wallace and William the Conqueror in from the 6 march lineup, and then you're going to spread them out. Okay. So BQ Wallace, great march, super powerful march. BQ really carries it, but Wallace does a cool 3rd skill where he gets 40% extra damage to smite, and that's amazing when BQ hits with his big smite. Joan or Huo Joan, no change there. Now we bring in William the Conqueror behind Arthur. Can't believe it. 2025 in August, we're looking at this saying William is still part of the 7 march best setup. It's wild. So those are your 2 calves that you run. Okay. Then you get into your 2nd infantry march, which is kind of a little bit different of it's not a pure smite march. It's Luce with Philip. Great synergies. Absolutely love that march. And then you've got Ragnar with CPO. That's great. It's your wedge march for infantry. And then you've got your 2nd archer march. So the best setup, the best for 7 marches, in my opinion, 2 archers, which are incredible, 2 cavalry, which is really, really good, and then 3 infantry. Infantry still ruling right now. They're so good. It is so good. They do so much damage. They're tanky. With Luce Philip, you're doing all kinds of extra stuff to buff. Ragnar CPO. People were telling me Ragnar CPO, like it just doesn't do it. Man, Ragnar CPO is crushing right now in the field. I'm seeing so many reports. It still does amazing. It is not targeted all that much. So Ragnar CPO still does it, and that gives you your best lineup. And so just so everybody understands, and in a quick recap of this, these are your tier lists for your marches, the best marches in the game. This is your best 5 march setup that we talked about. This is your best 6 march setup that we talked about. This is your best 7 march setup that we talked about. So let the debate begin, because now I know people are going to disagree with that and really try to understand exactly how we do this. This is what I like to run. This is my opinion. This is with everything being equal. You have all these commanders. We're going to get more commanders. What's going to happen is we're going to get a leadership commander. I don't know if we're going to get one for the field, but after that, we're going to get a combo cav commander to be able to put with Arthur. Hallelujah. Thank you, God. They're finally giving us that. And who knows, maybe they take Belly, turn him into a combo commander. Okay, maybe they take one of these cav commanders and turn him into a combo commander and transform him from a skill damage commander to a combo commander like Khan or something like that. So that's one of the things you want to look for when it comes. And when it does happen, we're going to tell you all about it. We're going to tell you how to use it, and it's going to be the best you can do. That's what we love doing. We love sharing the knowledge and sharing the information. We want you to be the best players you can be. And with all that being said, we hope you have a great day. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to check out my Discord, and we will see you, broskies.